Hello YouTube, Flying Moose here. We are sitting here on the ground on the tarmac at Los Angeles International Airport with a Boeing 747 in the WestWind livery. We're going to make a full flight today for YouTube and go from Los Angeles here to San Francisco. It's a very short hop for the 747, but there actually is a realistic flight that does this, a Korean flight from San Francisco, from Los Angeles to San Francisco, and then to Incheon, South Korea. So we're going to go ahead and do the walk around as we've just arrived here at the airport. Normally this would be the flight engineer or first officer's job, but this is a simulation, so I don't have either of those people. And I wouldn't have a flight engineer on this flight anyway because it's 400 and not a 200 or 100 or 300. So as we approach the nose wheel here, we see that the wheels look in good condition. The wheel strut is in good condition. Shiny on the piston, which means it's cleaning itself appropriately. Check the nose of the aircraft. The radome looks okay. No dents, no dings. Pitot tubes are uncovered and undamaged. Cargo door is open, ready for baggage. We've got the one of the air conditioning pack inlets here. No obstructions. Check the leading edge of the wings and the landing lights. It looks good. Check the massive Pratt & Whitney engine here, engine number 3. Check the pylon, make sure everything looks normal. Check the engine inlet. No debris. No dead raccoons. Continuing down the leading edge of the wing. Just checking the other side of the pylon there. Engine number 4 inlet, same thing. No debris, no FOD, foreign object damage. Leading edge of the wing down on to the end. Nav lights on like it should be. The winglet and the vortice generators. These little wires hanging off the wing. See those things are. And coming down the back of the wing, trailing edge of the wing, the flaps. Checking out the exhaust ports on the 2 engines, engine 3 and 4. Everything looks good. Nothing doing. Come to the landing gear, the 2 right side bogies. Again, checking the brakes and the piston struts, making sure everything is shiny and looking undamaged. Rear cargo doors are open. Again, waiting for cargo. Checking the vertical and horizontal stabilizers on the back of the aircraft. Also known as the tail fin. Elevators on the horizontal stabilizer. APU outlet, exhaust outlet there, and the rear position light. It's working, it's on. And coming around the other side, everything looks good. Got ground crew from Alaska helping us out today. Continue on the other side of the fuselage. See the wheels on the other side, the left bogies. Again, tires in good shape, shiny pistons, brakes looking good, no obvious problems. Looking at the flaps on the trailing edge, looking at the exhaust ports on engines 1 and 2. Pylons, attachments, vortice generators on this wing. On the winglet, the red nav light on the tip of the wing, the bleeding edge of the wing here as we come down, checking the pylon for engine number 1. Come around and we'll check the engine inlet again. No dead raccoons, it's a good sign. They have a raccoon problem in Los Angeles, but anyway. And no problems in engine number 2. Flame lights look good. Static ports look good. And that concludes the walk around. So we're going to go head up to the flight deck and I'll see you on the flight deck. Alright, welcome to the flight deck of the Boeing 747-400 here at Los Angeles for our flight. As you can see, we've already got electronics going on the plane. We had to get that so people could start doing their job. I'm going to come here and initialize the initialize the inertial reference system. So kind of a mouthful. And turn on the window heat here and the yaw dampers. even though the yaw dampers won't be ready to go yet. Nav lights are on, as we saw earlier when we were doing the walk around. And we'll go down here to the FMC to put in our IRS location. Again, it's inertial reference system, not internal revenue service. And get our position, there we go. And we'll put in Kilo Lima Alpha X-Ray, which is the airport we're at, KLAX, as our airport reference. And again, we'll start the route page going here. Again, we're going from Los Angeles to San Francisco, so we're going to put in LAX and KSFO for our destination.
Destination is going to be KSFO, San Francisco.
And we'll make the flight number just 747.
747.
I don't remember what I put for the flight number when I was setting up this flight, so air traffic control is going to call us something else, but that's okay. I don't care. We'll activate that to get that set, just the initial thing, and then we'll put in the flight plan in a moment here. And we'll go ahead and get our ATIS. I'm re-recording the audio for this because the way I did it when I did the flight, the sim audio drowned out the microphone audio, but they're linked, so I can't really recreate. And I tried doing with FS Recorder to get it back, and it's FS Recorder is kind of funny with the PMDG. There's some quirks, so I didn't want to re-record the whole thing. So we're going to make this work, but you can see the ATIS up top. I was assuming we were going to have runway 25 left. Or sorry, 25 right for our departure, and it turns out that that is correct based on the ATIS information that we should expect 25 right on this side of the field. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that into the computer. 25 right, and we're going to do the Ventura 5 departure, VTU 5, with the RZS transition.
Ventura 5 with a Romeo Zulu Sierra transition.
And again, we'll let's see, here we go down to the route here. This started to do this and then realized I didn't need to because the next nav aid is actually the first nav point of the star that we're going to use into San Francisco, which is the Big Sur 2, I think is what that says. Star. And so we use the Big Sur 2, and I'm assuming, at this time, it's going to be runway 28 left. Based on how we'll come in, we'll use the Menlo transition. I did find out later that we would not be doing that, but we'll save that for later in the flight. So we'll fix the discontinuity in the flight plan. We go from RZS to Big Sur VOR, then on to Menlo and the other nav aids that take us to the runway for the approach into 28 left in San Francisco. And we'll go ahead and activate that. And we can see that there's no magenta line connecting the runways to that waypoint Ventura, because the first part of that is vectors, and so we have to fly our own route basically to Ventura, and so I'll deal with that once we're in the air. And so there you can see it's the vectors as part of the legs, and I'm pointing that out. Alright, the performance initialization, we gotta put in our weights and cruise altitudes and reserves and cost index, and I happen to know the weight for this is 516.7. We got 150,000 pounds of fuel on board, which is more than enough to get us to San Francisco today. We do reserves of 10 and a cost index of 150, which is the magic number I like to use. Normally the airline would give you this number. And a lot of times it's in the 80s or 90s because it's all about conserving fuel, but this is a sim, and I'm more concerned with speed than I am with fuel, so I like to use 150. We're going to be at flight level 320 today, 32,000 feet. And we're going to use a step climb of 0 because we don't need a step. We're pretty light today, so I'm going to derate the thrust to take off of 5% derate. We'll do a flaps 10 departure. And flaps 5 will be at our thrust acceleration will be at flaps 5. And V1, V2, VR, and V2 are 136, 149, and 164 respectively. And our CG is 25%. That gives us a trim of 5.3. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Get the trim set. That looks close enough to me. So we got the trim set. We're also going to set in our IAS and Mach hold here V2 plus 15. But 15 gives us 179. I like to round up, and so I'm actually going to set 180. So it'll be V2 plus 16, but who's counting? It's a sim. Alright, we'll go ahead and get our Ifr clearance. And again, you have to imagine you can hear this because its audio is going to be turned down to avoid my voice talking over in the microphone. And basically he's giving us clearance to 10,000 feet. And our squawk code, which was 0762, I think. 1. Close enough. And we're testing, I'm going to test here the TCAS in a second once we finish routing that back after him, I think. And we'll go ahead and switch over to our ground frequency. So we're ready to taxi at that point. Now we'll test TCAS.
TCAS system test OK.
Fantastic. Alright, we're going to go ahead and close the cargo doors because they're open. Close the main door. It's open. I'll turn those guys off.
And we'll pull the jetway away here in a second as we get ready to go, closing up our doors and resetting the altimeters. Looks like 2990 was our altimeter reading here, and so we're just cross-checking that, making sure we've got the same thing on the standby as we do on the PFD. And we go up here and in preparation for engine start. I don't like to use auto start because I don't get to tell it when to put the fuel on. I like doing that. So I turn off auto start so I can turn off the fuel switches for engine start and then put on fuel when it's time. And I turn on continuous ignition there, but then I realized I wasn't quite ready to start my engine, so I thought better of it. We'll turn the fuel switches off. And I'll pull the jetway away. Go ahead and turn our beacon on since we're going to be starting our engines and pushing back here in a second. Turn 2 of our packs off so we have start air pressure. As soon as our ground crew gives us permission to go ahead and start, we will do that.
Check completed. Flight has been inserted. Release parking brakes.
Release the brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that way.
Alright, we've gotten our permission to start our engine, so here we go. Go ahead and start, put on continuous ignition and start with engine number 3. You see N2 starting to spool up there, and N1 above it also starting to spool up a little bit as it builds. Once N2 reaches about 20, we'll go ahead and add fuel to start the engine, which is right now. There you go. And my dome light kicked on. Once the engine comes on, it floods the cockpit, so we turn that off. And we see the N2's going up, the N1's going up. We got EGT rising, oil pressure's rising. There goes the oil pressure.
Oil pressure rising.
And starter's cut out.
And we're stable.
So ahead and put on hydraulics from that engine. And the bus is already activated, so it kicked off the APU generator number 2. And so we'll go ahead and start engine number 4. Same thing, watching for the N1 and N2 rising, mainly the N2. The N1 doesn't really get going until there's fuel added. And fuel on number 4. EGT rising. And watching the oil pressure. There it goes. And one stabilizes. Got a beautiful sunset here at LAX today. We're pushed out of the gate, gate 76 in Terminal 7 on the south end of the complex. It's not all that much traffic here today, and mainly that's best guess as I'm running fraps and other things, and it's my frame rate's trying to adjust. I'm going to start the other 2 engines simultaneously. The 747-400 has the ability to start 2 engines at once on either side. I like to start 1, 3, and 4 individually, but then I take 1 and 2 together. So they're coming up, and we will add fuel to both of them right about now. Watching EGT rise on both those engines and the N1s and N2s.
Set parking brakes.
Start out on 1 and 2.
Let's go ahead and turn auto start back on now. We'll leave continuous ignition on until we get up in altitude a little bit as a precaution, just in case we have any engine trouble. Go ahead and turn our lights on. And we'll turn our runway turn-off lights on, but we won't turn our taxi light on yet. We don't want to blind the ground crew down there as they're unhooking the tow bar. Go ahead and get the hydraulic pumps going on engines 1 and 2. Shut off the APU here in a second.
Generators are running, so I'm going to turn off the APU. So we don't need it anymore. Go ahead and get our taxi clearance.
You'll notice there it says doors entry right on the display. I mentioned this on the audio in the original recording that I looked around before it actually stopped fraps and looked around the airplane to make sure we had closed all the doors, and we had, so I'm not really sure why we're getting that warning, but it's apparently a false one, so I decided to ignore it because I never opened door entry right, so I'm not sure why it thinks it's open, but whatever. there you can see our first waypoint, Ventura, that is not connected anyway because we have to be vectored to it. And so air traffic control has cleared us to use our own navigation, so we're going to fly straight there. And I'm not going to worry about connecting the dots to it until I'm ready to get the autopilot on. I'm going to hand fly this at least to 10,000 feet because that's fun. Notice there I've actually busted my clearance of 10,000 feet by about 400 feet while I was distracted by my takeoff power setting was still at takeoff instead of climb. I was trying to troubleshoot that while before ATC got me the clearance, so we missed it by a little bit, but then he cleared us up to 24,000 feet shortly thereafter, so it really wasn't a big deal. So we'll set that now in our altitude, and we're going to engage the autopilot this time. I'm not going to use VNAV today, just going to use the standard vertical speed, but I am going to fix the vectors issue now. Execute that, and then we'll set LNAV. We'll control our vertical speed, and manage the engine power ourselves. We're essentially going to do what the what VNAV would do, and that is to set climb power and trim the aircraft for maintaining a certain speed on that power setting. And to get to that speed, since we're above 10,000 feet, we're going to drop our vertical speed here in a second to get our acceleration up to above 300 knots. And you'll notice there I forgot to turn the TCAS on right before takeoff, so I'm just accomplishing that right now and fixing that. And here we go. We're going to change our vertical speed down to about 1,000 feet a minute. That will allow the aircraft to speed up. I also still haven't solved the climb power issue yet. We're still in takeoff power mode. But I did discover in the FMC how to change it. It's supposed to do that automatically once my flaps go up to 5 and change to climb power, but for some reason this aircraft sometimes doesn't like to do that. And in this case it did not, so I believe I figured that out in a moment. But in the meantime, you'll see our speed is coming up. We're above 250 knots now, going through 260, 270, coming up on 270 knots. Here we go. Hey, there's the page I need. Climb 1. Voila. There we go. So now you see up in the upper ICAS that it says Climb 1. And now we can set the power correctly. As we pass 300 knots, we're going to go ahead and bring our vertical speed back up. Start our more powerful climb, and that'll slow us down, keep us from overspeeding the aircraft as we approach 360 knots in this altitude. As that altitude increases, then we come down to 340-ish knots in their indicated airspeed. Our indicated airspeed goes down as our Mach number goes up. That's all based on pressure outside. So our speed is calculated through ram air pressure on those pitot tubes. we're going to continue to climb here up to our cruising altitude of 32,000 feet. Once we're cleared to that, and then I will have you rejoin me once we're going to cruise for a little bit. And notice I have turned the gear off, and landing lights are off, flaps are up, and TCAS is set finally. It should have been a while ago. The auto brake is now off as well. We're basically configured for the climb and cruise stage of the flight, so it's all smooth sailing from here. By the time we're en route currently to RZS, Romeo Zulu Sierra, and from there we go to the Big Sur VOR, and the Big Sur VOR is actually the entry VOR for the Big Sur Star, standard terminal arrival procedure. Standard terminal arrival. Into San Francisco. So I will see you in the cruise. In the meantime, I'll give you some exterior shots of the aircraft on this beautiful evening, beautiful July evening leaving Los Angeles for San Francisco. Here we are flying down the coast of California, and just in front of the nose of the aircraft there you can see Hearst Castle, which is in Big Sur, or near Big Sur, I guess. It's a beautiful landmark, beautiful shows and tracks. If you ever get a chance to go, so there you go, right there. Highly encourage it, it's absolutely gorgeous. Here we are coming into the Bay Area. We're now descending down to 8,000 feet, I believe, that we got cleared to. Right now, you'll see the mouse pointing on the map display. We actually got runway 19 left, which was kind of a surprise. I don't think I've ever had that coming into San Francisco. It's usually always 28 left or right. And so to keep our arrival the same, I requested we use the Menlo transition still and basically circle the land on runway 19 instead of using ATC's original vectoring. So we're actually maintaining our heading to Menlo, and then we're going to go straight through that up to like the Shake intersection and bank hard to line up with 19 instead of 28 left. So, a little change in plan, but nothing we can't change on the fly on the FMC. So, pretty simple. And here you can see they're actually clearing me for the runway 28 left approach, and then landing 1.19 left. I think I'll actually fly all the way down the line, runway 28 left, and then circle around, but that's just stupid. So I'm not doing that. So, but FSX ATC doesn't really use intelligent things. So. Anyway, descending down to the bay. Yes, we are descending down to 8,000 feet, although I'm going to change that because it's just cleared me down. We'll turn off the auto throttle. I'm going to go manual on the throttle. I'll leave the autopilot on until we're turning final for the runway, at which point I'll turn that off, and we'll go that way. And there's Highway 280, I think. When I flew this originally, I couldn't for the life of me remember what that highway was. I'm going to call it 210, and that's not right. I think that's 280. Going into Peninsula there. And you can see 101 here in a moment, over by Palo Alto. Absolutely beautiful this evening in the Bay Area. As we cross over Menlo, we're now flying direct to Berks and eventually Starks. I think it's Stark or something. There's 101 and Palo Alto Airport. You can also see out of the corner there the San Mateo Bridge, one of the 4 primary bridges going up the Bay Area. San Rafael Bridge left out the north side, I guess. So here you can see the tower is now cleared us to fly the left downwind for runway 19 left, which this makes sense, since we are actually practically on a downwind. We're on a little bit of a triangular course here, but it's downwind enough. We basically skip base and kind of downwind base combined, which is efficient. So we make the turn. There's San Mateo Bridge. And you can see the landing lights for runway 19 right there, the approach lights rather, the approach strobes for San Francisco International. Coming out from behind the clouds right there. And there's Oakland up ahead of us. Bring down flaps 1. Passing through 10,000 feet, we're going to turn our landing lights on, and we're going to turn on our continuous ignition again, and we'll leave that on until we touch down. Also going to set our auto brake already for 1, and we've got our seatbelt signs armed, or on rather I guess. And there goes our lighting just changed as the sun continues to go down. So we can get the aircraft ready for landing here. Bit of a warning of aircraft traffic, which you can see right here, right up by the center stroke of the window, which he is climbing, so it's going to be no factor by the time he gets to me. And there he goes. He's plus 10 now, so it's 1,000 feet vertical separation, so we're fine. Bringing our flaps down to 5. Continue to ascend through 7,500 feet or so. Go ahead at the beginning of the turn toward final. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot this time. And we're going to be manually flying it all the way down to the runway now. As we turn around, basically turn around Oakland. There's 880 there, highway. You can see the Bay Bridge going up there through Treasure Island and the other side, the more memorable side of the Bay Bridge, and the Golden Gate in the background. So hey, that's the 3 of the 4 main bridges that everyone knows about. We kind of missed Dumbarton. I think we just flew right over it. Nobody cares about Dumbarton. Yeah, you can see an aircraft there going down. If you heard the ATC when they cleared us, I heard them clearing them on approach too, and so I'm kind of hoping I can outrun these guys, because if I get clearance first, then I will have priority and I won't have to go around, and I really don't want to go around. And I don't want to sidestep the last minute just to save time. But that guy right there is my main competition. If I can get in front of him, which again, this is only something you would do in the sim, because first of all, ATC would keep us away from each other, and second of all, we are going to be way too close for regulation. But I'm going to keep him in sight so I don't collide with him, but I am going faster than him, so TCAS is yelling at me to climb because I'm coming down on top of him. There's Oakland Airport. He's behind my strut now, so I can't see him, but I know he's there. There he is. And we're just going to fly past him. So now we should get our clearance first because we're in front, and we'll be good to go and clear to land. And we're bringing our gear down. Our flaps are at 10. Once the gear's down, we'll bring our flaps down to 20. Eventually 25 and then 30. Our VREF speed is about 154, I think, is what it's up to. So that's going to be our target approach speed as we go down. And I'm going to stop talking now for the rest of the approach and landing. Just enjoy that.
Don't sink. 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 Don't sink.
406, clear to land, runway 19 left, number 3 for landing. On the aircraft on final. Caution, Boeing 777, landing runway 19 right. Clear to land, runway 19 left, number 3, US Air 406.
Alright, as we turn off the runway here, we are going to be taxiing to the gate. I believe ground control is going to give us a gate over the parking area across the way, not actually at the terminal, which annoys me. But
San Francisco ground, WestWind 4569er, heavy, taxi to the gate. WestWind 4569er, heavy, taxi to the gate, go 121, taxiway go, Bravo, Echo, Charlie. WestWind 4569er.
we have to hold short here at runway 19 right for a landing 777, which you will see in a moment. And there he is. Not heavy. While we're waiting here, we turn off our APU, put our flaps up, make sure our auto brakes are disarmed. Landing lights are already off. Continuous ignition can go off. Singapore Airlines 777. For those of you that are wondering, the add-ons that I'm using here for traffic and clearly you can see I'm using GSX. I'm trying to find the gate that ground control assigned me. But I use GSX for my apron vehicles, the air stairs and catering, baggage, all that stuff is all GSX generated. Great program, I love it. My AI, my traffic, is Ultimate Traffic 2, which is I think it's been updated in a while, so it's using older schedules and some older schemes, but it's okay. It's close enough.
Roger, Piper 15 November. San Francisco ground, SkyWest 6370, request taxi to the gate. SkyWest 6370, taxi to gate Bravo, Air 9er, taxiway Charlie, Lima, Foxtrot 1 Alpha. Taxi to gate Bravo, 2 9er, using taxiway Charlie.
And here we are, skipped ahead a little bit, we're pulling up to the parking area, gate, or really parking spot, Golf 121, can't really call it a gate. So our passengers will have to use a bus to get to the terminal. But you can see the ground handling by United here. That's all GSX generated. See a United, looks like an Airbus taking off in the background there on 19 right. And I actually couldn't see, as I was coming around here, I couldn't see the marshaller. Normally he's sitting there right in front. He's actually in the yellow high visibility vest on the green right there, like right at the edge of that taxiway. So I couldn't see him at first. So I just kind of decided, okay, I'll just guess. And then right at the last minute I kind of, oh, there he is, waving at me. The parking spot's right up against the grass, so he has to be way out there. Especially since I'm so tall, he's got to be able to be visible. So at this point I have seen him, and so I'm kind of following his thing down. So I'm going to slow down here because I'm kind of impatient. And this is the fun part of the 47 is try and slow down and then you stop, and then you got to find that sweet spot again to get going, but not go too fast. And it's not the easiest thing in the world. FSX has some issues with modeling friction behaviors and things like that. And there we go. And we're here. So we're going to go ahead and cut our engines. And APU's already running, so we just have to make sure the electrics are switched over for that, which I'm doing right now. So we'll hit those. Those buses will switch over. And we'll cut fuel. 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it. We are here in San Francisco. Flight was successful. We had a good landing. We had a fight with some traffic on the way down, but not very much. And the GSX guy always says that wasn't a very good parking. I can be right on the line, perfect, and he'll say it wasn't a very good parking. I don't understand what their definition of a good parking is. I think I've only gotten very good parking once, and I didn't think that was a very good parking, so, yeah, go figure.
Well, guys, thanks for flying with me.
Alright, well, thank you for joining me today on this flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco. I'm going to continue to shut the aircraft down here, and as I bid you adieu, I hope you'll join me for a future flight. Again, this is my first full flight recording for YouTube. I will get better at this. Like I said, we had the audio issue, and I've kind of recorded the audio over again watching these videos, so it's been a little hokey, and sometimes I say things before I actually do them, or I say things after I do them, and it's kind of weird. But yeah, hopefully it'll get better. We'll keep going, but I'll be flying some more WestWind aircraft, something other than the 747. I've got the PMDG MD-11 and the NGX and a couple other planes, several other planes. Lots of Captain Sim aircraft as well. 727, 757, 707, so some classics. And so we'll get into those as well. But those will all be coming up in the future, and so I hope to see you. Hope you join us. Subscribe and like on the channel. Again, this is it's all a little rough because I'm just getting going. So I'll see you on a future flight. This is Flying Moose signing off.